Hello everyone and welcome back to another top 5, a little bit of a fun one as usual. Sometimes I'm joined by others on these top 5s, but today you're stuck with just me talking about the heaviest games in my collection, but not by any board game geek sort of difficulty rating. No, I'm going by weight. Weight of kilograms, of pounds, stones, however you want to measure it. What's difficult to lug around when I'm going to places. And, well, just bear in mind that this list for me is probably going to change soon because I've got Foundations of Rome and the Call of Duty board games en route-ish. Well, one's en route-ish, one's getting developed and made. So they're going to be quite big, heavy games that are going to dominate a shelf or two, but let's jump into the list. An honourable mention, because it's not necessarily one game, is Marvel Zombies. If you saw, I did a sort of unboxing when the Kickstarter arrived. I've got so many boxes of this. I've got 2 base games, the Kickstarter minis, then loads of little like Guardians of the Galaxy boxes. Technically, just one of the boxes is a game, and it's not necessarily as heavy as the other things on the list. Would I want to carry it all around? Probably not, and it would almost be the heaviest thing on this list if I included all of it. But individually as a game, Marvel Zombies isn't the heaviest, but it is an honourable mention. But now on to number 5. My number 5 is a game which has these large plastic building things that you're putting down, and no, it's not the Foundations of Rome that I alluded to earlier, it's Big City. In this game you are using your sort of cards, which are plots, and you're trying to get ones next to each other. You're trying to plot them down in a way it's like, right, I've got 56, 57 and 58. I'm going to put those down, like play these cards, and I can put a 3 long building down. I'm going to do residential, because if I put residential around the edge of the board, it's going to score me points. Maybe one of the like office buildings that needs to be in the middle. The theatre, well, that maybe wants to be touching one commercial building and one residential building to actually play it down. So you've got to have that right card next to the right things. But it's a heavy game because of those buildings. It's also quite a good one. That's Big City. Next up is a big box which sits just about there on the shelf, and it's basically left this house once since I've got it, because it's not too heavy, but it's quite a big box as well, which is why it's not the top of this list, and that is Twilight Imperium 4. Now this is a sprawling space opera of a game. It's going to take you at least 6-7 hours when you're fully up to speed and with only 4 players. If you want to go to your 6 players, it's gonna take you probably 8+ hours. A full day you need to commit to what is growing your space empire, taking over planets, screwing over alliances that you've made. Oh, I won't attack that planet. No, if you don't attack this one, oh, they take their turn, they don't attack, and you're like, I'm just going to put my control marker here. Everyone around the table, ooh, they've screwed you over sort of thing. Or, you know, I'll just do these trades. Oh, no reason. Oh, I've now got enough resources. I'm plopping down a War Sun, which is effectively a Death Star without the copyright. And just you're smashing plastic at each other as you're throwing ships to take planets and all that sort of goodness. In the aim of points, but sometimes you can have a lot of fun and score very little in this game. But it is quite heavy and a big box, so that's Twilight Imperium 4. From the same company as Big City is Container. This is a game that's hard to get anyone excited about it because, well, A, it's a boring-ish sounding theme, and B, even when it's down on the table with these really cool big container ships with containers that go on it, you've all got like your own port area, there's a couple of rules which are just like, well, that makes sense for the point of the game making sense. But there's some exciting elements of this game. First of all, you do get to push these really chunky, very heavy, I think it's like a resiny, plasticky thing, like these huge ships around, and that's, well, it's quite satisfying, especially when you drop the little containers on, and, you know, then eventually you'll be pushing them off to the island for an auction. The auctions are really amazing. Fun bit as everyone looks at their scoring card, looks at what's on that container ship that's just gone there and goes, well, that could be worth this amount of points for me. So you've got this really interesting market auction system and economy that's driven by what the players do. And it's quite a heavy game because of those containers and those ships. So there you have it, that's Container. The next one on the list is my version of Terraforming Mars, and that's because not only does it come with tiles, domes, a playmat, it's also got a lot of wooden bits in there as well, because I upgraded like the player mats, and it's got like a card tower and sort of stuff to hold the cubes for the money, and it's a nice wooden sort of build. It means setting the game up is that bit more easy, it's quite satisfying getting it back into the box, but also those player boards in the original that are just like a super thin card, once you've played with the wooden ones that I've got, or like I know other people have got like plastic ones that are officially from Frick's Games, or however you're supposed to say that, they're just so much nicer, and with all that wood, cards, tiles, etc. in the box, well, oof, it's quite a lot to lug around. And that's Terraforming Mars, a game which is all about building up an engine, playing these cards that you're having to buy to keep in your hand, buy to play them down, but when you play them, hopefully they're going to do something good, like allowing you to put down a certain city or forest greenery area onto Mars, pushing up the oxygen for points, temperature. It's just, and hopefully getting some oceans as well. It's just an amazing game, but it is not light. That's Terraforming Mars. And the heaviest game in my collection by far is Pitch Car. It's one of my favourite dexterity games. It's coming out at Christmas times, a big sort of family events, that sort of thing, because you can set up this track, a bit like a Scalextric track, but there's no cars that you're driving around electronically. No, in this you are flicking these discs, which are the cars around the track. Not just around the track, over jumps, sort of through a tunnel, that sort of stuff. I haven't got it, but there's ones which even add different heights. Might have to get that one at some point. I've got the loop, because why do you not need that insanity? And it's just a lot of great fun. But the track is made up of like these wooden components. The cars are wooden discs. And that really adds up. When every single straight, every corner is wooden, that box is heavy. Certainly with all the expansions. I've actually got 2 of the base sets. Then I've got like 3 or 4 of the expansions, which means just more wood going in the box, which is different shapes, maybe thinner bits of road, those jumps that I was alluding to, that sort of goodness. Just, it's a standout game, but boy is it heavy. It sits on the shelf for a reason a lot of the time, because I'm not transporting that. It's big, it's heavy, you can come round mine to play it, that sort of thing. Maybe at Christmas it might come with me on like Boxing Day or something like that, but it's going in the car, I'm not carrying it somewhere. Little bit of a fun list, a bit different. My heaviest games in my collection by weight, but not difficulty. Weight, lifting, lugging, all that sort of goodness. What's the heaviest kilogram game in your collection? I just thought this would be a bit of a laugh. Let me know in the comment section below, and until next time, have a light game day, because, well, this has been very heavy filled.